Okay, so for this lesson, it's going to look kind of similar to last lesson, but it's kind of in reverse order. So last lesson we worked on, we were given an equation in slope-intercept form and we had to graph the line. Now we have a graphed line and we actually need to find the equation that of this line that would be in slope-intercept form. So from here, the first step we're going to do is locate the y-intercept since we know that that's going to be a point on our line. So it's the point at which the graphed line crosses the y-axis. So in this case, it's going to be right here. And now what values do we have for that coordinate point? It's 0, 1, right? So we're going to take that y value of that coordinate point, 1, and that's our y-intercept. Okay? So now we need to find the slope, but in order to do that, we need our second point, right? Because 2 points define a line. So let's find where another second point could be where it'll be easy enough for us to find our slope. So what I usually do if there's anywhere, if there's a point at which the line crosses the x-axis right here and it's at a point, it's not like in between 2 points, I usually use that point as our second one. So right here, you notice how it's actually on the grid line of 2 on our x-axis, right? It's not like in between 2 and 3 to where we don't know exactly what it is. So if it's exactly on a grid line, I like to use that just since it's easier. So that new point is at 2, 0, right? We see that our x value is 2 and our y value is 0 for that point. So this doesn't give us our slope, but now it helps us at least find our slope. So now we really do have to think back to slope as rise over run. So let's go ahead and find what our rise over run is. So notice we're going down and to the right, so we're going to have a negative slope. So we're going to work on this left point first, and in order to get to this point, we have to go down 1 first, right? So that means our rise is a negative 1, right? Now let's look at our run. So we're at the origin. Now we go over 1, 2 in order to get to that point. So that means our run is 2, right? So now we have our rise over run, which means that we have our slope. So let's write it up here as a negative 1/2, right? If this doesn't make clear sense to you, check back with the worked example as well. That could give you a little more direction, or look back at previous lessons too that we have worked on rise over run and slope with. But by now I think you guys are getting it pretty well. So now we found our y-intercept and our slope. So we have our m and our b for our slope-intercept form of our equation that we need to find. So over here, let's write our equation. Notice how in our slope-intercept form, we keep our y and our x. So we have y equals our m, which we found is negative 1/2. I'll go ahead and color this for you guys. Negative 1/2 x, right? Our x is a variable. And now we have our b, which is a positive 1. Don't forget that I don't know why I did that. There we go. Don't forget that our b comes with the sign in front of it. So our y-intercept was a positive 1. So our b is a plus 1. So our final equation in slope-intercept form is y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1. And now you know how to find an equation from a graphed line.